we're off. Welcome to the portal, the dream talking portal, Alonzo. The world has shifted. So for the first time in over 2.5 years, Alonzo is on the podcast. Say something, fool.
Something.
This is your first time on this podcast, Dream Talking.
Is it called Dream Talking?
It's called Dream Talking. Don't ask what it means. I don't know. It came to me in a dream, I think. I don't know. It's kind of because Paul talks about the dreaming. This is dreaming. So this is a little exercise in dreaming.
Oh, I had a screenshot I was gonna share real quick. I had from a while back.
Let's see it.
We started off with this.
Good idea. We'll show an image on the podcast.
No, I'll just say it.
Which is audio.
I'll just say it.
I hope you're descriptive.
It's right here. Look. You'll see what I mean in a second.
I'll set the scene. So we're in beautiful San Francisco, California, Marina District. It's pretty nice 70-degree day. The pure self in the play we call existence gets identified as the person. Then it has some effect for what I call the infection, and it deeply believes it is a person. Is that Muji?
I think so.
It sounds like a Muji right there.
I think so, yeah.
That's it, dude. We've been infected. That's fucking kind of crazy you just showed that right now, because one of the themes of what I've been talking about, especially on the last one I did with Amelia, Paul's girlfriend, partner, we were talking about how spirituality is like a disease. It's like an infection. Like people talk about, like, I used to be worldly, but now I'm spiritual and I got it all figured out. But you don't want to stop at being spiritual. You want to, like, spirituality is like an infection of, the system knows something's wrong. Like, I shouldn't be fucking depressed. I shouldn't be, bored with this life. You have some sort of memory of when you were a kid and shit was fucking cool and interesting and kind of magical, and then it seems to, like, go away, right? And then spirituality is that kind of spark of, like, oh, maybe there is something more than this, than the Matrix or whatever. That's how I start off a lot of the podcast, is I ask the guest, when did you first get a clue that there was something more going on than just sort of like the Matrix? When did you first get the clue that maybe you're in the Matrix? When was your first little red pill? You know what I mean?
I don't know. This was from when I was a kid,
Yeah.
Just felt different.
Yeah, I know.
Just always felt different. And then, when I met you and we started talking about it right then stuff, that's when you gave it a name. You just kind of put a name around it,
Yeah.
And the whole philosophy behind it. But I probably felt this way since I was a little kid, man.
Yeah, and we've always talked about that too. I think you have similar to what Amelia has, where you always sort of got it without anyone having to tell you. You knew something was up.
Yeah.
And with myself, I very much seem to need the teachers to tell me. I was like, oh, I got very fired up about Muji, for example. Like, we were big on Muji. This is 2.5,
cool.
3 years ago. Yeah,
Cool.
big time on. And we fucking listen to them and go, oh, that was good. Send each other videos. Working at K, Magical Station K, 24th and Balboa, and you always just seemed to more be like, I don't know, I think in me there was more seeking behavior, which is more sickness. That's more the disease, thinking I'm gonna get somewhere. And that's something that Paul helped cure. Like, no, you're not gonna find it, because you are it. There's nothing to get, there's nothing to attain. You only ever have been the answer, right? And I don't know, I see in you, I don't want to project too much, we'll get you telling your story, but you always sort of seemed to know that. You kind of knew the punchline the whole time.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you definitely dug. I think you definitely dug deeper into it. You know,
Yeah.
you definitely studied more, if you want to call it studying more.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You know, talk to more teachers and whatnot. But I don't know. It's kind of hard, you know, because you fall back into, you know, human
Yeah.
flaws, I guess, right? Is
Yeah.
that what you'd call it?
The Matrix.
Yeah, you fall back.
It's not flaws. It's just it's more delusion. It's more.
Delusion that-
Yeah.
You know, all these emotions and feelings, you know, just fall back into it. It's kind of hard, but you know, every now and then you get a reminder that it's something small. You know,
Exactly.
We're just a lot smaller than what we seem to be, right? We like to think our problems are big and
No.
we're big, but
Yeah.
we're just really small.
Yeah, I love Paul's, he calls it free samples. You get a little free sample of all the problems you thought you had they're delusions. They're fucking made up in our own mind. But they feel very real when we believe they're real. Dude, the call we had last week on Friday that stuck with me was we were saying something about, so I never mentioned the company that we work for, but we're electricians for a
High voltage
utility system in Northern California, and I'm in a position that you're working towards. I'm a couple years ahead of you in this particular career. In this career, and you are on your way to being in the position I'm in right now. But certain things in life or whatever has slowed it down just a little bit. But it's inevitable. We know you're gonna end up, you know, doing what I'm doing, and I say again and again, I'm not saying this. I say this off recording all the time. You're gonna be fucking better at it than I am. I know that.
Has it slowed it down, or is it the way
it's the way, exactly.
Oh.
See, that's the story I'm telling, that it slowed it down, right? This is my own fucking interpretation. It is whatever the fuck it is. But what I was getting at was, you were saying, yeah, when you're tech, yeah, that's what you're meant to do. And then you were like, yeah, and then once I become a tech, then I'll never be sad again.
Yeah.
And all the people I love will never die.
Yeah.
And I'll have nothing but bitches and money.
On the other end of that is it's bliss, right?
It's bliss, exactly.
No problems.
Yeah.
No problems. Everything's good to go.
And part of the human delusion is we think it's going to be good forever. Like, you know, like it's our life has been this volatile, you know, sometimes you got it, sometimes you don't. But we think one of the tricks of the mind is that we just got to hit this certain destination, then it'll be good forever. And we really believe that bullshit, you know. And
would it be better to not have goals at all? I mean, we'd call that,
that's what I'm saying,
goals. I mean, should we go through life without having these goals, these aspirations, or?
Yeah. So
I mean,
it's a good question.
There's a healthy dose of it, right? And then there's an obsession, right?
Yep. It's a balance, right?
Where it consumes your life, you know?
Yeah, I think I'm more on the side of goals are good, striving is good, but don't fall for the delusion that once you get it,
it's just forever.
Yeah.
My favorite is no one you love is gonna die.
Yeah.
That's the big one.
That's the great. Nobody that you love is gonna die. If I could just get this thing, right?
That's pretty much it.
That's what all fear. I just heard a quote the other day. We're only afraid of three things: our own death, the death of the people we care about, and our own mind. That kind of, and we you know, we might be not afraid of our mind 99% of the time, but every now and then.
Is our mind should we look at it as a little bastard that we should be careful of, or a friend?
Yeah, I mean, it's both.
Right?
Yeah, it can be both, for sure.
But be our friend.
The gift, you know, for me, Paul and many others have shown, is to see it for what it is. The mind's not the final answer. The mind doesn't have the final say. It wants you to believe it has the final say. The mind wants you to believe it's fucking God.
Just ride that wave, right?
Yeah.
Whichever way it's going, just try to ride it.
Exactly. And then you get into the kind of Buddhist, you know, suffering comes from attachment. So if you can manage to see attachment for what it is, then you end up in a cooler place. And yeah, you're gonna ride whatever fucking wave comes along. Life never stops. Change never fucking stops. And striving will never really stop either. Especially for us, we're young, you know. We got a career and a life and friends and family and all that shit ahead of us. But it's a good gift to be able to see it for what it is and not get as lost in it as often.
That's tough though, no?
Fuck yeah.
To not get attached. It's tough. It's hard.
Yeah, because trying not to be attached is being attached in a different way. You're attached to detachment. You're attached to pushing it away. That's why when the Buddhist says suffering comes from attachment, it's actually attachment or aversion. It's pushing it away or pulling it in. Either way, right? It's non-neutrality basically. You know, neutrality is just a word, but it points towards what isness. Going back to Muji.
Yeah, it's that attachment thing. That's tough, you know, because I find myself a lot of the time. You know, I see my sister and my brother, you know, get all huggy and, you know, lovey-dovey with my mom.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, it's the one person that raised us right is our mom, and the importance we give to our mom. And they're real huggy and kissy and stuff with her. And then sometimes I catch myself purposefully not doing it, right? Just so I can kind of prepare myself to when that time comes where she's not there. Then, it's pretty stupid because, you know, when that time comes, there's no preparing for that. You know, there's no amount of preparation for when that time comes when she passes. And it's just, you know, that's all we really know, right? Is our mom. It's the only one that raised us. So, you know, I find myself purposefully not being the same way, huggy and kissy and stuff. For them even. I do it for myself and also for them, because when the time comes, it's gonna hurt, you know. It's gonna hurt real bad, you know. I try to, and me being the oldest, you know, I gotta try to be the strongest one, you know.
Damn.
Kind of like a crutch for them, but you know, I just, and then I catch myself like, dude, this is stupid. You're not gonna. There's no preparing for this, and then I just kind of give in and just, you know, try to love as much as you can, and then I fall back to it, you know. I try to be like, nah, you know. You got to find some way to prepare for it, which is dumb. It's a cycle, you know. And I find myself wanting to prepare for it, and then telling myself like, dude, there's no preparing for it. You're wasting your time. You know, it's pretty tough because we're already attached. You know, there's no.
How could you not be?
There's no going back. Yeah. So it's just when it comes, it's gonna come. You know. I mean, who knows how we're all gonna handle it? All three of us will handle it differently, though.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Okay, we're getting right into it. I love this. This is it. Okay. So I'm into the spiritual stuff, but I'm also, this is quasi-spiritual, but also it's psychological. Like a lot of these podcasts become like a therapy session where you share shit, you explore that kind of stuff, because just what you just got into right there, that is some deep shit. And I feel like we should give the listeners a little bit of context, because you said your mom is all you guys have.
Right.
Because you lost your dad at a young age, and also your place in the family as the oldest.
Right.
So you have two siblings, brother and a sister.
Yeah, younger brother, younger sister.
Younger brother, younger sister, and you're the oldest. And when Dad left the picture at a young age, how could you not help but be like, okay, fuck, I guess life made me the man.
Yeah, you kind of grow up a little faster. For sure.
Yeah, how can you not?
Sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, you gotta look after them. You gotta cook for them.
Yeah. And even beyond all the doing, just the cooking and the looking out for them, and, you know, watching out for bullies and all that shit, just the fact that your family unit now is you four.
Right.
You know?
It's been like that forever. As long as I can remember, yeah.
You were how old when your dad passed away?
7.
That's fucking young. 7. And your brother and sister were even younger.
Even younger, yeah. Yeah, there's not too many memories. I have a few. I have about a handful of memories of him, you know, working in the garage or something, you know. Or when we were, there's one time we were disciplined, you know, stuff like that. You know, sometimes he would discipline us and stuff like that. But yeah, it's not much, you know. Majority of my life has been with our mom. You know, so yeah.
Yeah, and then getting into, like you said, there's a lot of shit going on. There's a lot of dynamics. Like, you're like, I don't want to be as lovey-dovey as my brother and sister, because you feel like you have to hold something not just for yourself but for the whole family unit again.
Yep.
You got to be the one that's like, hey, she ain't gonna be around forever.
Oh, that day's gonna come. Yeah, that day will come, and then
Like it's coming for all of us.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
it's
Yeah.
more in your
Yeah,
face.
yeah,
She's older.
Yeah, there's no one's. It's inevitable, but I don't know if they think about it as much as I do.
I bet they don't. I'm sure, as the oldest.
I don't think they think about it as much as I do. They just, they think it's gonna last forever, maybe. Yeah, I know they don't, but
they don't face it
but
as
they
much
don't.
as...
Yeah, but they don't think about it. I doubt they think about it as much as I do. I mean, who knows? I don't know. I try to talk to my sister and brother about it. My brother Raul, he's we have some talks about it. I think he's on a similar level. I mean, as far as when we talk about stuff like that. And then my sister, she just never wants to talk about it. So I know when it happens, she's gonna probably get hit the hardest. But who knows?
Yeah, exactly. That's the point. Is who fucking knows?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Can't prepare for that.
You can't.
Don't know how you're gonna feel. So.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then there is some kind of gift in another, again, I keep using the word spirituality, which is watered down, but to me there's something spiritual about surrendering to that you don't know. We don't know anything. We don't know what tomorrow's gonna fucking bring. I mean, 3 months ago, did we know we'd be in a global pandemic and the economy be falling apart? And of course not, right? We didn't see this shit coming, and we don't know what tomorrow's gonna bring either. We don't know when our own fucking death is, or the ones that we love, or loss of job or career, which is like its own death, could be around the corner too. So something about surrendering to that. That's what people with anxiety issues can't surrender to that. They want to have control of something they can have no control over, really. You can have so much control, but that's you're making me more and more. I want to send you some of Paul's Zooms that he's been doing, because one in particular, somebody called about death anxiety. Yeah, right?
Yeah,
and they came in like, Paul, I love everything you're saying, but I'm really afraid of dying. It's like, yeah, of course. You can feel fucking great when he explains all the issues of the mental state and emotions and how they're robbing you of shit, but none of that can do anything for death, and it can't do anything for the action figure. The action figure is going to be afraid of its own death, or the death of, it's going to be attached to that, and it's not fucking going to go away, right? Or maybe it will, but you're going to have nothing to do with it going away. So, as what you truly are, as the awareness or the consciousness of that fear, can you develop a new relationship to it? And what Paul said, which stuck with me, it's so simple but it's so fucking deep, is fear of death is sucking that interest away from now. So
right.
In a way, right? So in a way, fear of death, you're not living.
Right.
You're dead.
Right.
Even though you seem to be alive. Right? That's the shit right there, right? So if you sit there going, well, I can't be available, present for my mom today because one day she won't be around, then in a way, it's like she's already dead.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
In that situation.
Exactly.
So recognizing that and seeing it for what it is, then you go, okay, well, I got today.
Exactly. That's the constant battle between the two.
Yep.
For sure.
Yep.
It's a constant oh, okay. You realize, just let it go. Just ride, like I was saying, you just ride the wave, man. You just live day by day, whatever's gonna happen. You don't know. We don't get to decide. We don't choose. And trying to control it's just even, that's what I'm saying. Preparing, trying to control it's even, like you're saying, it's not really living, man. It's you're not really enjoying the time that's here with her. Yeah. I think she knows it too. I think she knows sometimes when I'm being distant. She feels it that sometimes I'm distant, and I don't know. I think it hurts her more. I see it. I think it bothers her sometimes. That she knows that I'm distant.
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know, man. But I think I should just kind of let that go. But it's hard, It even affects my relationship.
Okay, this happens when I'm on the clock. Get pulled away by the seat assignment. But we're back. We're getting right into the good shit there, man. As always. So you were saying it's pretty fucked up. Your biggest worry.
Yeah, it's pretty much my biggest fucking. I don't know. I mean, I try to think. I try to filter through it all right now, and that's pretty much at the top of the list. Even before my own death, it's funny.
I was just gonna say.
Even before my own death, it's one of them dying. You know, it's fucked up because it's almost like when you throw a rock. That's how I think about it. You throw a rock in water and it has those little ripples. That's kind of the level of importance. You know, the closest ripple to the rock is it's my mom, right? My sister, my brother, and then after that it's fucked up to say, but I mean after that's my cousins and my aunties and stuff like that. And I'm sure it's the same way for them, and their parents and us.
Of course.
I'm sure it's the same for anybody, but it's just like a little ripple effect of who, if these people were to die, and if that first wave, just all I think about. I'd rather die before them, and I know, and even then it's fucked up because if I were to die, how fucked up would it be for them, right? And it's just not fair, dude. But oh well. I mean, I try to be tough, and I try to fucking just, be solid about it and not worry about it, but I can't stop helping thinking about it all the time, Even when I was a kid, dude. Even when I was a kid, I don't know if I mentioned this before to you, but before when I was a kid, when I was younger, 7, 8, when my dad first passed away, for early couple years, I would be crying. I share a room with my brother, and I'd be crying, and my brother would wake me up like, hey, what's going on? He'd say my name like, hey, and I'd be fucking crying in my sleep and shit. I don't know, for crying, Just thinking about one of them passing away. What would happen? What happened? It's just fucked up. That's just probably top of the food chain. I mean, it's probably the topic to talk about. I mean, if we want to get into something deep, but everything else, it doesn't really matter. I mean, after that, it doesn't really matter. I mean, right now my job's a great job. And it provides for. And why do I think it's a great job? Because it provides for them, for my family. You know what I'm saying? Not even me. I'll be fine, dude. I'll be fine by myself, but because they're involved, I have other people that I feel responsible for. It's a great fucking job because I can provide for them.
Yeah. No,
I can. If anything happens to them, I can support them. With this job.
Yep.
And we're fine, dude. And that's why it's a great job.
Fucking priceless.
It's crazy. So my life pretty much is surrounded by them. And it even affects my relationship now with a girlfriend. It affects my relationship with them.
The fear of death?
No, with my family.
Your family, yeah.
Because they come after. They're in that second ripple.
Your girlfriends will always be. Yeah.
They come in that second wave. They come maybe in the 1.5, maybe in between the first, whatever you want to call it. But it's just not. It's not first. And it's not first. And it's fucked up. So it affects my relationships too.
Yeah. So. Well, I mean, I'm thinking, little Alonzo crying in his sleep. It's the fact that your dad left so unexpectedly. You can't, it's like it's trauma or whatever. Like you go, oh shit, you had an idea of what life was, and it got ripped right from under you at a very young age when you could make no fucking sense of it. So anyone that has a big loss like that at a young age, you're gonna again and again look for, okay, when's the next one? It happened to me once. And that's part of that, like, withholding affection or whatever. And I deal with the same shit with my family and my kids too. You withhold because you're like, well, I don't want to get too attached because I don't know when it's gonna get ripped out from under me again too. And that's having stepkids. When I love my stepkids just as much as my kids, but they have no obligation to me. You know what I mean? Like, if they decided I never want to see you again, there's nothing I could do. And that's fucking heavy, but hell yeah, that's gone through my mind. And especially as the older ones, 18, and she's Yasmin's gonna be 17 pretty soon. Like, they have no obligation to me. It really is. It can only be unconditional love on my part. I can't. If I try to hold on to, like, you owe me something because I had this job and I provided money or I provided food, and yet, you know what I mean? That I don't want to live that way. So there has to be a surrendering to, like, it is what the fuck it is, And it's obviously easier said than done. But it's kind of that tape always playing in the background, right? Yeah, dude. How can it not? So. Okay. Well, because I like to somewhat make the podcast,
Give it a theme,
or give it a chronology, like beginning to end, like a story, you know?
Sure, yeah.
I mean, we're already on my favorite shit here, death. Fear of death, how it's robbing us from living here
It's a
today.
big one. Yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah. I was just keep thinking more and more. Another big theme in this podcast for me is I do it with friends. Like, the majority of them are people that I click with for some reason, right? And I'm thinking of the fact that we clicked early on because so many people in this job, especially young men that I meet, it is all about them. They love this job because it gives them enough money to go buy boats and fucking new trucks and new guns and buy a round for everybody at the bar and all that kind of stuff. And it's basically impossible for me to relate to that, because when I got this job, I had 4 other people that counted on this paycheck, and I had to freaking hold it down, not for myself. I had to hold it down for them. Nick, I've said this before, if I never met my wife and had kids and stuff, I could have just skated by with just enough to get by and played video games.
Right.
You know what I mean? But life forced me to get it together to a certain point, and I know I'm happier for it. Like,
right,
the fact,
sure.
you know what I mean? The fact that...
What would you do with that money anyway?
Exactly.
Anyway?
And we both see, particularly the young men that don't have any responsibility, aren't doing it for anybody else, they're chasing that, that fucking attachment.
After I buy this boat.
Yeah. That's our joke, right?
This round.
And I've told people in Paul's group all the time, hey, I have this buddy at work that our joke is, then I'll be happy, right? So this is the guy I've been talking about, Alonzo. That's our joke all the time. Then I'll be happy once this happens. Once I buy that boat, and then when other people share that, that aren't in on our joke, and they go, yeah, I'm gonna buy this truck, and I'm gonna buy this property, and I'm gonna lease it out, and you're just sitting there like, and you think you're gonna be happy at the end of it? Like, it's just like, what I mean? Like, it's just this ego fucking thing. And once that delusion, getting back to the delusion, the illusion of it is seen through, then maybe you're available for something else here today. And that's what, people joke with me all the time that, like, but I can't help but at work be, God, we're in San Francisco, especially right here. This is about as good as it gets. You walk around the corner and you got the Golden Gate Bridge, the breeze, the water, beautiful women everywhere jogging by.
Yeah, it's all here.
And it's all right here. And you think that, no, it's actually about the numbers I'm accumulating in my bank account, which is going to buy me toys. Like, it's so juvenile. It's like fucking kids. They're little boys that are going to buy me toys and those big trucks and those big homes. Then I'll be happy. And I'm so thankful I'm not caught on that fucking hamster wheel. I never even got a chance to get on it. And so, getting back to, I think that's why you and I related pretty early on, because we didn't work together right away. So there was a couple of months of just very quick surface talk, small talk. Yeah. And then I remember, I don't know if you remember this, one day after a meeting, I used to take all the leftover food and bring it to the homeless.
Right.
You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And you were helping me bring some food to my car, and I think there was a little Minnie Mouse toy in the back seat. And you were like, oh, do you have kids? You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I said, I think probably at that time it was probably 4. And I was like, oh yeah, 4. And you were like, oh, you got a 4-year-old? I was like, no, I got 4 kids. And then I think from there on out, and then you started sharing a little bit about your family and losing
my relationship, yeah.
Your relationship. You were with somebody that had 2 kids.
Right.
And that in this job where for years and years and years I just couldn't relate to people, because they were, not everybody, I knew people that had kids too, but there's a different level of, like, we know why the hell we're here. We know why we're coming here to work, and we know why it's worth it to not just get comfortable and stop. Like, and I don't think I have anything to do with this, or you either, really. It's not free will or something, but we're very interested in this job too. Like, we can geek out.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
We can geek out about electricity. Like, get fucking fired up. Uh,
That's pretty cool.
what do we call it? Metaphorgasms, like little brain brain orgasms.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I get it. I get how electricity works. Like, it's fucking fun. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
So-
you probably gave me probably the first one. It was that K, remember? It was
Yep.
that K.
Oh yeah.
When I drew out that little piece, that's probably the first one. I was like, oh shit. And from there, I was like, yeah.
It was all coming together.
Yeah, because instead of part of the job is building stuff, and then some of this electrical theory, and that's just when I knew, that's where my interest was.
Yeah. Yeah.
The theory and stuff behind it, how stuff works, not just putting it together.
Yeah, and there's something in this job which I know translates to so many other jobs, where you first show up and you're just trying to kind of like not be in the way and be useful,
Right.
just enough, and you have this idea that everyone else knows the bigger picture and knows what's going on.
Yeah,
And you're
for
right.
sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
And
everybody here knows what's going on, except me.
except me, right? And all I have to do is just not fuck up or not let on to how dumb I really am,
Right.
and how much I really don't know what's going on. And I'll just skate by, and then maybe one day all of a sudden it'll make sense.
Yeah, that's definitely part of the job when you first
Hell yeah.
start. Yeah, for sure.
I had years of that, man.
For
Like,
sure.
too long. You caught on a whole lot earlier on than I did, and it might have helped that I started showing you some shit, because
Right.
I saw you.
For sure.
You're maybe a year and a half, 2 years in, not even.
Not even a year.
Not even a year in. And I was like, I remember not being a year in to this career and being really fucking lost. Let me try and give you a little bit of the big picture here, and once you start getting the big picture, no longer are you just trying not to fuck up or trying to do your little piece, but you see how your little piece plays in to the big fucking picture.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's what the hell it's about. Is more and more you go, oh, every little thing is vital in the big picture. You don't feel as, I don't know, lost or it's kind of a loaded word, but like, you have a purpose. My purpose is fucking important here at this job. And my old job before, working with electricity, it was so apparent because I taught kids. So there was a very short period of like, I'm faking it because I taught kids martial arts. I'm faking it. I don't want anyone to catch on that I don't know how to teach. But I knew my craft. I knew martial arts. So I knew how I wanted it to look. I knew what I wanted people to get, but I didn't know how to teach it. But that came along pretty quick, and very early on it was like, I have a purpose. I got these little kids that come in and don't have any confidence or don't have a lot of respect or regard for discipline and hard work. Take it? You should take it. I'll pause.
Should probably take it.
Yeah. This one's a little broken up, but we had 2 unexpected commercial breaks. So we started this 2 hours ago, but we're only like...
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, we're only 30 minutes in on recording time. But, as I was just saying before, and I'll catch this for the audience, if it was bad, I would have given it up at this point, but it's so good, gotta complete it.
So good.
Gotta give it that feeling completion, put it out there for the Dream Talking community, so that, yeah, you can be a part of it, Alonzo, because you know what's up. You're down with the Dream Talking, even if you don't know it. It's hard to get started again, man. Because that's part of the thing that I love about this podcast, is you get in a flow. Like, when you start to feel it, and you're like, oh, yeah. And you start to see all the, like, and then I'm going to take it here, and then I'm going to take it there. And then you get that freaking roadblock, and it's like, oh, we got to start all over again. But you don't really have to, because it just is whatever the fuck comes out. So, okay, we got Fear of Death, Muji. Another big piece, I don't want to cut you off, but another big piece for me is the first podcast I recorded was with you. It wasn't on this one, it was on the old one. The technical thing behind that was I had another podcast. I'm very lazy. I can't figure out how to like do it on my own, so I find apps that make it easier to just record it, and they do all the work. They distribute it to Apple Podcast and Stitcher and all that. I just click one button and it goes, and it's free. It's called Anchor. It's It's like it's really good for people in the podcasting world. So I used to use another app. We recorded one on that, which didn't we like recorded one and I lost it. Then we started recording another one, the same thing as today. We started getting calls and interruptions. Do you remember that? And we gave up. And then finally we got one out. And I think on that one it was at K and there was that loud ass buzzing in the background through the whole thing. So this is a little better audio.
Right.
Which is cool. So I'm bringing you back. So that's 2.5 years. But that what I'm getting at was that was a big thing for me because I talked about doing this podcast for years before I finally fucking did it. And talking with you, I was like, okay, this is somebody that kind of gets, because I don't know what the hell it's about. I'm just figuring it out as I go. You know what I mean? But there's something about when I dig into certain things, it reminds me of the podcast that I love to listen to. You know, I bring it up on here all the time, but Pete Holmes, Duncan Trussell, they're like kind of my podcasting, you know, heroes or whatever. They're who I emulate. That's what I want to do.
Yeah. How do they go about their podcast?
So that's a good question. Pete Holmes, You Made It Weird. Both of them are comedians. I should start with that.
Oh, okay.
So I'm more so inspired by how a comedian, and then Joe Rogan, of course, which you know,
right.
He's in that mix. Both of them, I'm inspired by the way comedians run podcasts, not the way spiritual people run podcasts. You know what I mean? Even though I get into the main theme of what I like talking about is spirituality and non-duality and stuff like that. But I like the idea of a conversation more than me sitting here and interviewing someone, you know, because stories are just stories and they can be interesting or they're not. I like more the idea of we're going to meet, we're going to talk, and I have conversations all the time that I go, that could have been a podcast. It was we've had those.
For sure.
The fucking talk we had over the phone last week. It was good. We went some places. It was deep, and you know. And so this to me is just a practice or an exercise in doing that, and seeing what cool stuff comes up. And then everyone kind of in a way, all the people I enjoy talking to somewhat start meeting each other. And you've been to talks.
Yeah.
So, you know, you've been to Paul Talk, which we haven't mentioned. You know, Mike Z, Keith. I've had one with Paul. I had one with Amelia last week, which was really freaking good. Like, exceeded my expectations how good it was. Amelia's his girlfriend, his partner that he lives with. And in a funny way, her take on this stuff reminds me of your take on this stuff. I kind of got into that at the beginning of, she's not obsessed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm a little obsessed. I go to every talk that I can. I listen to every YouTube that I can with Paul.
Yeah.
And before Paul, it was Muji, Adi Ashanti, Fred. I should send you. I did one with Fred. But you sticking to the theme, similar to Amelia, are like, you kind of get it without having to dig into it as deeply and obsess over it as much. But at the same time, it's cool to have a little song like this of reminding each other.
Right.
You know? Every time we talk, we both kind of leave like, oh yeah, like it was a nice reminder. Don't take shit so serious. You can kind of laugh at yourself a little bit, thinking, then I'll be happy.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, we spend a lot of time by, you know, wanting this, wanting that.
Yeah.
Setting this goal.
Desires.
Yeah, all these desires, you know, all these things that you want, you know, this future that you foresee that you want to build for yourself or whoever. You know, and it's exhausting, you know.
Yeah.
It's tiring. Sometimes you just want to hit the pause button, you know, and just stop everything for a while. You know, I feel like that a lot, you know, I just want to hit pause. And you know, and sometimes you can just hold on, you know, let me give myself a minute. Let me give myself, you know, stop wanting all these things and just be okay with what's going on now. You know, it's kind of nice, you know, to remind yourself. That's kind of what these talks are, right? It's just
Exactly. That's it.
And just remind yourself, you know, everything's fine the way it is. Just relax. It'll be fine.
It's funny you say pause, because that's a huge word that comes up in Paul's talks and in this podcast again and again, is allowing yourself to have a fucking pause. How crazy is it that we don't? That we go day after day of going deadlines, gotta get this done, And then even when you don't have deadlines at work or whatever, we invent our own deadlines.
Right.
You know. When are you gonna propose to
Right.
your girlfriend? When
Right.
you gonna, you know, when you
gonna
gonna buy the
save this
house?
amount?
Yeah,
When you gonna buy a house?
when you gonna have this number in your bank account? And
What is you see? You for myself having my own kids, right?
Yeah.
When do I see that happening? You just setting all these times and dates, and it's exhausting.
It is.
A lot of the time, you just need a minute to yourself.
Yeah, man. And if this podcast is anything, if you know my little message or this little message, it's you can pause here today, you know, and that's what, getting back to the podcast that I like, Pete Holmes and Duncan Trussell, it's a little break for me to, like, on my drive in the morning, to hear a couple of comedians do that for each other. Be like, hey, what if like today was enough, you know? What if it you still have all of your goals, all of your shit will still be there, but what if we just take a little break for an hour, do what the fuck humans were meant to do, talk, connect, have fun, laugh a little bit, remind each other, you know? And I know that if other podcasters have been that for me, maybe this podcast can be that for some other people, you know? And it feels fucking good. I get texts and emails from people like, that podcast was amazing. Like, it feels cool that I'm sharing that with people. You know, it's a gift to, it's enough to just, I always say excuse, to have an excuse to hang out with somebody and talk. You know, that's enough. And then the fact that other people get something out of it is just extra credit. You know? And I don't know, without this excuse, I probably wouldn't do it as much. You know, take the time to check in with somebody. Where are you at? Some of the bigger questions. You know what I mean?
Where are you at, huh?
Where are you at? Because we don't even really check in that often. We get very caught up in a little tornado of where we believe we're at, which is fucked, or, you know, just around the corner from all of our anxieties being, you know?
For sure.
But where are you really at? Oh, because if you ever really stop, unless you're in the middle of a panic attack, you're good. And that's a nice reminder. Again, I was thinking about getting back to Muji. You remember during the invitation, the way he started it was, leave all of your ideas about the future, any of your worries, any of your thoughts about the past, everything you think you are, leave them at the door. Remember that? And then step inside, and then he does this little invitation, and he starts asking the questions like, God, I can't think of any right now, but like, okay, what's left when you drop everything? Does it have any color? Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Does it have any smell?
Mm-hmm.
Does it depend on anything? Is there any judgments about it? Is it good or bad? And the answer again and again is no, no, no. What are you left with? That kind of blank slate,
Yep.
Right? Like Paul talked about, empty, right? And then when you're empty of all the things that either you think you need or your desires, when all those drop away, Muji's little invitation is like, look, everything's still okay. What's left? And there's no answer. And that's the thing about using words too, is it's not going to be in the words, because a word is always going to be one removed, because it's in the emptiness, it's in the silence that the relief, the relief, you know, what you're left with. You go, oh, all that shit I thought I had to hold up, I don't have to hold up. When I drop it all, you're still good.
Yeah, it's, you know, and then I think, you know, it's easier, like right now, it's we're talking about this now, and it's easier. See, I feel like it's easier for us right now because of where we're at in our life, right?
Yeah.
You know, but to have this similar idea and philosophy and state of mind right after something traumatic has happened to you.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, would you feel the same way? Would you feel that this is supposed to happen and
it's harder,
just let
for
it
sure.
go and yeah, you know, all this good stuff, right?
Yeah.
all this stuff is which seems to be true, right? Whatever the case is, to release and just be empty of all things, just leave things in its natural state. You know, are people gonna feel this way, or do we feel this way? Am I gonna feel this way when something traumatic is happening? Because as an adult, you know, as an adult, I haven't had too many things that are traumatic.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Little things. There's little things that are like, oh crap, but so what? We get past that. But like something traumatic, you know, how would you feel then?
Yeah.
Can you say the same thing then? And I think it would be a lot more powerful to hear from somebody. At least I'd like to hear from somebody that's just been through something traumatizing,
Yeah.
and give a talk on how they feel, you know, as at their natural state.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things I say is like why Paul has some sort of like street cred or like spiritual cred is that he seems to me, I don't want to speak for him, but from what I can put together from his stories, is he's kind of been to hell and back. Like he was addicted to coke. He shot himself to the point of death till his heart stopped beating multiple times. Like he was in the throes of the disease of alcoholism and substance to an extreme. He always says if you couldn't physically stop him, he was going to get the drug, which is crazy. That's a fucking possession. Like you're a zombie. You know what I mean? And he says all the time, his mom couldn't stop him. You know, the state, the government, police could not stop him. He was that's seeking. That's believing it's one fucking shot of coke or one, you know, drink of alcohol away. That relief, because he's trying to get that relief, right? He calls it self, trying to get out of self. You're identified as the agitation and you're trying to get out of it, but you still want to keep that identification as the thing that is agitated. You know, you can't, and you hit a point of, you know, he always says like surrender is kind of your only hope, right? So yeah, it's easy to be surrendered. The thing we both have going for us is we have good jobs, right? And there's not too much traumatic shit happening on a day-to-day basis, for sure. But getting back to, you know, can you still, and what Paul's message, which rings with me again and again, is it's not ever going to all go away, but you will travel lighter over it. That's the traumas, the drama, the shit will continue to happen, but maybe not at the time, but you'll recognize afterwards, oh, I traveled lighter through that. It wasn't as heavy. There was a little bit more emptiness through that experience than, you know, previously. When you take reviews of in the past and you really sat there thinking, oh, I'm fucked for good, it's over, you know, or you hold on to, you know, this trauma happened, I lost this person, I lost this job, physical illness, physical injury, and you go, and one of the tricks of the mind is it's going to be like this forever. Everything was good, I always knew something was coming, it came, and now I'm fucked for life, you know. Those things still kind of appear, but they're lighter. You travel lighter through them, you know, and that's if anything, that's what has revealed itself to me. I don't think that, you know, I can go to the deep places. If I lost a child, one of my kids died, right? I don't think I would be in the same state of mind that I am now, right afterwards, saying, it's all empty. Right. Don't worry about it.
Right.
You know, everything happens for a reason.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, of course. For the body, for the programming, for the action figure, of course you're not going to fucking... You ain't going to be in some Muji state of, like, whatever. But, I don't know, man. I really do feel like there's...
Powerful, man. This action figure, this mind.
Yeah.
It's powerful.
It's very fucking powerful. Yeah, and it's programming, and it's biology, and it's all set in survival for yourself and the people you love and care about. But I feel like I'd be lying if I didn't say that you can travel lighter over that shit. And you can see the action figure as not who you truly are. Not even who, what you truly are. What you truly are is that which is aware of the action figure and its programming. And this is getting back to what Amelia said last week, is no matter how bad shit ever got with her, she had a terrible relationship, 20-year divorce, guy tried to take all of her kids away, like she went through some traumatic shit as a mother, who her whole life and identity was wrapped around being a mother. And she reports that she always has known her whole life that she will hit that pause, like we're talking about. The pause will come. It will pass. And that's what blew my fucking mind, was I was like, I needed to hear a teacher tell me that. I needed to hear Muji, Alan Watts, Paul tell me, hey, yeah, no matter how crazy it gets, you know, everything is temporary, you know, the peace is on the other side of all this. If you want to get real deep, the peace is even true through all of it, even though it doesn't seem to be. That's kind of your baseline. No matter how scary the movie is on the screen, or how violent it is, you're never the movie. You're always the screen in which the movie appears on. Right?
Yeah, that's good.
It's good, right?
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good.
Oh, that's how so many of our talks go, is one of us goes on a roll, and then we go, that's good.
That's good. It's its own drug, if you will.
It is, bro. It's relief.
Yep. Yeah.
It's relief.
Because it offers relief, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's, I don't know.
It's a trip.
It's a little less physically, chemically addictive than drugs. Because it is, that realization is available all the time.
Right.
You know? I got a pretty good feeling about that being a good wrap up.
It's good. I mean,
it is good.
What more would you want? I feel like I just took a hit or something. That's
yeah,
good.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. That's what this is my jam. This is my little drug. Is doing these podcasts, hanging out, and you know, now that I don't get to go to the meetings in person, I do. I get plenty through the Zooms, but I do try to make a point to meet up with people, and this is like a song.
Just talk. Yeah.
Just talk. It's a little reminder for each other, and it does. There's, in one sense, we've talked about this before. In one sense, we can have a deep ass conversation and feel really good and peaceful, and then within 10 minutes, something might come up. And
yeah, we're talking about what the action figure part.
Of course.
What primarily what it is we talk about every day.
Yeah.
It's pretty. You know, that's pretty much what the sleeve's for. Yeah. The sleeve.
No, what is
tattoo?
It? What? Break it down.
Oh, well, this whole arm, like, I got this, you know, because you see this.
Okay, hey, this isn't good for the podcast, but he's pointing to his tattoo sleeve on his arm.
It's just a sleeve of,
Tell us the story.
the 49, because we're from over here, and I got the San Francisco, we're from over here, right? We're the San Francisco kind of logo, and, money sign, and then kind of the neighborhood where I'm from, and just California.
Pretty sick, actually.
California stuff.
380.
Some some Aztec stuff, an American flag, just kind of stuff that people see. I think what people see on the surface, what my action figure kind of is.
Mm-hmm.
He's making money. He's about his money. He's all this other stuff. There's music notes on here. There's California. There's a bear on here. Just stuff like that. It's just on the surface type of things. Where if you see someone and just look at them at first glance, and you want to read them by the book, if you're going to do that, then that's pretty much what you're seeing, is that. But then above that is not that this is doing it any justice, but for me it's a Buddhist tattoo, right, of Buddha, and then it's an eye, an all-seeing eye, and in Chinese script it's release. It translates to release.
I think you told me that, but I forgot.
It translates to release, and it's deeper than just release, right? It's more of it's a Buddhist type of thing, right? It's a calming type of, hey, just let it go, just let it go, and let whatever it is, let it handle itself, type of thing. And that's what I see in You know, and if people start asking about the tattoo, you know, immediately you're like, oh, right, he got this type of sleeve. And you know, but for me, you know, if you want to ask, you know, or if somebody asks, or if we start talking about it like now, it's something deeper. You know, it's because above all that, or what wraps around it, you know, over the action figure and all these action figures, how it characterizes itself, you know, how it identifies itself, right? It's its wants and desires, its attachments, whatever it is. You know, above that, you know, is something deeper, right?
Yeah.
It's a calming type of, okay, look, that's just your action figure, dude. You're not, you and everybody else come from the same calmness, the same emptiness, right?
That's it, bro.
So that's pretty much what my sleeve is for, you know. Like,
that's fucking sick. So that's cool in many ways to me, but I'm thinking, like you said, so when you meet somebody, you immediately have a story. When you meet the action figure, or the character is another word I like.
Right.
You go, this is a dude from, you know, a Latin guy from the Bay Area.
List them. Yeah,
you just have all this list.
Go ahead, and you're gonna start listing things of what you think.
Yep. And then you're gonna put them in the box of all the other Latin guys from the Bay Area that do construction. Right. And your sleeve is representing that. This is my story. This is where I'm from. But that's badass that you have that. The Buddhist symbol of, and none of that really is it.
All that's surface.
It's all surface.
That's all surface type of things. That's all what you're gonna see. If you don't know me, if you see me walking down the street and you look at me, that's pretty much what you're gonna get. This, you know, you can see that I'm Latino. You can see all these other things. And you look at my sleeve, you're gonna immediately start assuming what I think. Right? What this action figure thinks.
Projection. They're projecting it on you.
You're already gonna identify me, right? And that's fine. That's all good. That's fine. It's gonna happen anyway, with or without the sleeve. It's gonna happen. But
it's a reminder for you.
But it's kind of like, all right. Well, if I'm gonna get something that, you know, that's about, you know, the action figure. Well, it's funny because the action figure knows that it's, you know, at some point, or even, you know, reminds itself that it's just an action figure.
Yep.
You know, being me. You know, me as an action figure, I remind myself, the action figure, that, dude, you're just an action figure. Relax. You're just this. Okay. When there's something bigger, or not, or smaller, right? Everything is your all your problems, everything about you is small. So relax, right? Relax. You know what I'm saying? It's not. Your voice doesn't. I mean, yes, it's crazy because in some ways your voice matters a lot. You know, your words matter a lot, for sure it does, but you know, but to remind yourself that, hey, you know, it's small, dude, relax. You know, there's a calming, you know, there's a calmness about it, you know, to remind yourself that it's just on the surface things, you know.
Yeah, man.
That we're all the same in one way or another, you know.
That's what it's about, because you get back to that like you said, the release is we all are the same. We're all empty, and then the story of everything else is put on top of the emptiness. Right. And then we're all putting our own stories of everybody else too, and thinking we got everyone else pinned, and I'm special because I'm Catholic, and everyone, you know, I got the fucking answer, and this and that, right? And it's what's cool about non-duality, and there's people that in non-duality, I've talked about it before, there's like a fundamentalism of non-duality, that no, non-duality is the answer. Again, right?
Oof, huh. Okay, well.
like you're getting caught in the same fucking trap that every other person, and it doesn't have to be religious. It can be you're a Niner fan. Yeah. It can be you're a Raider fan.
That's right.
It can be you're Latin, or you're...
That's right.
Yep,
That's all that. Yep. You meet people every day that are like, well, my way is the right way.
Yeah.
My race is the right race.
Yeah.
My job is the job to have.
Because we all want to be special. My
team is the team to cheer for.
Yeah.
You know, my city is the city to be from. You know, it's like that's cool and all, but you know, but to remind yourself that no, it's all small. Relax.
Yeah.
It's fun. That's all fun and games. Remind yourself that it's not. You know, we're all. There's an emptiness behind all that. You know.
That's it, bro.
It's a trip. You know, to continue to remind yourself. And this sleeve is kind of a reminder to me, and it kind of helps. Even having the sleeve that says these things that says that, hey, this is just the action figure, and this is just who the body is, this is who Alonzo is, but then there's something deeper, It's so action figure-y, right?
Of course.
To have the sleeve in the first place.
Of course, that's it.
Right?
Yeah. You could just not need it.
Yeah, you could just not have it.
Yeah.
I could just not have an arm, right? Or have an arm, right?
Yeah.
Let alone a sleeve
Uh-huh.
that says,
For sure.
So it's pretty funny.
But it's funny because we're kind of stuck in this.
Yeah,
right?
Well, I mean, if we're here, then
you gotta.
If we're gonna be here.
Yeah, if you're gonna play by
I might as well have some fun with it.
That's it.
Might as well have some fun with it.
That's it, bro. Yeah. And if you're in the game, you might as well play it.
Who said that action figure? It works out great.
That's Paul.
That's Paul, right?
Yeah, that's Paul. Yeah.
It works out great.
It's so funny, dude. You say that because
we move our hands, walk, eat, sleep shit like like somebody's there's another force controlling that, but
that's it, dude. But the action figure itself, I like action figure too because you have to come along and play with the action figure on its own, right? So what you are is playing. We're all playing with the action figures, right? But the action figure itself has no life or anything to it. That's it. That's fucking it. It's so funny you say that, man, because I was talking the other day about how Paul's message is a huge influence in my life, and so many people don't even know it. Like my wife doesn't care at all about non-duality. She listens to Paul and she just gets nothing out of it, right? I don't know. I'm glad it speaks to you, but I don't get it. That's what she says to me, right?
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Right? Yeah. But there is really no bigger influence in me, generally being peaceful and happy than having this little anchor, right, in my life. And so many other people, Claus tells me all the time, he thinks that it's because I got to the new job is the reason why I'm in such a better mood. But I got the new job at the same time as finding Paul. This job compared to the old job, if I had the same ideas about life, I would be he says I used to seem very depressed and I don't know. This is his story, right? And so in his mind, he's putting it on the tattoo of a new job, right? And me, this action figure is saying, nah, I think it has a lot more to do with finding Paul and this, But I was just laughing about the fact that you're like, who said the action figure, right? And I go, so many people, there's people I know that don't even know who Paul is that use that language. They say action figure because they know. It's such a good metaphor. They know, and it maps right on to, creating a lot of perspective.
The separation.
I am not the action figure, That separation is a huge gift because if you really are convinced that you're this fucking meat suit,
oof,
that's heavy, bro.
Heavy.
Then you gotta take all the weird sexual shit and all the weird stuff that the meat suit, the action figure.
I was thinking about it, dude, just to be fully just engulfed in fucking that idea that this is who I am.
Yeah.
And this is the way it's supposed to. It's just so heavy. Makes me kind of sick, huh? I don't know, maybe if I had too much coffee or just the idea of it. It's just kind of like, God.
I know.
It's fucked up, right?
Yeah. When I hear people that are very, this is funny, right? Like I'm speaking from some other point, but I'm just reporting a story. If I see someone that's very wrapped up in their own identity, I'm like, oh my God, you're in hell, and you don't have to be. Like they're so, when the 49ers lose, they're depressed for a week, right? when their political candidate loses and someone else wins, and I'll be happy once Trump gets voted out of office. It's like, bro, it's because what's behind all of that?
Then none of your loved ones will die.
Then I'll be happy, right? Then I'll be happy. You see, and there's something about the recognition of the action figure does believe that bullshit, and there's a greater sense of truth beyond all that. That's really what it's about, man. Yeah. And we could go forever, but it's one of those days. I think we got a good hour. That's cool. crazy. That was an hour. It felt quick and long at the same time with all the breaks.
Yeah.
We gotta do this more often, man, than every 2.5 years.
Sure, yeah.
Do it sometime with less interruptions, too.
We'd be talking about the same thing.
Of course.
Nothing.
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 The podcast about nothing.
Yeah, we'd be talking about this. Nothing.
It always comes back to nothing. Something kind of funny about my favorite thing to talk about is nothing. Alright, man. Any final words before I shut this off? A message to the people, someone out there listening, caught up in the action figure.
No, I mean, I want to hear their message. I want to just listen. I just want to sit here and listen.
Me too, man.
Just let it be. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not really the guy to,
Neither am I.
give the message. I just want to sit here.
Well,
just be content with whatever's going around. Until you're not content, and then you got to find a way to remind yourself.
There it is.
Because it'll come. It's gonna come soon. Where again, probably later on after this talk, it's gonna be back to the action figure. Something. I'm thirsty or something, or I gotta take a piss or something, anything, or I'm hungry, or I need to sleep. I'm tired.
What's next?
Yeah, it was just the next thing. It'll come, but then
It'll pass.
Yeah, good.
Yep.
Yeah, it'll pass.
Yep. It'll pass. We'll be right back to nothing.
Yep.
Hallelujah. Alright, bro. We'll do it again sometime.
All right.